This is the Global News Podcast from the BBC World Service. I'm Valerie Sanderson, and in the early hours of Sunday the 26th of April, these are our main stories. As the global death toll from COVID-19 passes 200,000, the World Health Organization cautions against issuing so-called immunity passports. The authorities in Iran are warning of a fresh outbreak of the virus just over a week after the country began unwinding its restrictions. Another grim landmark has been reached in the coronavirus pandemic. The global tally, tracked by Johns Hopkins University in the US, puts the confirmed number of deaths at just over 200,000. The top 5 most deadly areas in the world so far are the US, Italy, Spain, France and the UK. The latter announced its death toll had passed 20,000, but that takes account of only those who've died in hospital. Although it's still not clear when lockdown will end in the UK, the country has seen several changes of government strategy to tackle the outbreak.
Doctors around the world have issued strong warnings for people not to use disinfectant to treat coronavirus. Their plea follows suggestions on Thursday by US President Donald Trump that disinfectant could potentially be used to treat COVID-19. President Trump said, "I see the disinfectant where it knocks the virus out in 1 minute. Is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside, or almost a cleaning? It gets in the lungs, and it does a tremendous number on the lungs." On Friday, Mr. Trump said his comments had been made sarcastically. The White House press secretary said the media took the comments out of context and ran with negative headlines.
Coronavirus pandemic. This month, President Trump stopped US funding of the WHO, accusing it of mismanaging and covering up the spread of the virus after it emerged in China. Now, the head of the WHO, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said it was the US and the rest of the world which had failed to hear the warnings.
WHO can declare the highest level of global emergency, and we did that on January 30th. During that time, as you may remember, there were only 82 cases outside China. So the world should have listened to WHO then carefully. And every country could have triggered all its public health measures possible.
The coronavirus emergency is a major challenge for our health and social care services. To help the NHS and social care system in West Yorkshire manage the impact of coronavirus and to save lives, new restrictions have been placed upon us all. Following the self-isolation and social distancing restrictions will keep people safe, slow the spread of coronavirus, stop the NHS from being overwhelmed, and help to save lives. The police have been granted new powers to enforce the new restrictions to help keep people safe and slow the spread. Thankfully, I know that the vast majority of people across West Yorkshire are heeding the advice and guidance, and I want to thank them for that. Where they are not, the approach of my officers and staff will be to encourage, explain and engage to seek compliance. Ultimately though, some people will choose not to comply, so I've had to tell my officers and staff to use these new powers where they need to, especially with people who are deliberately breaching the restrictions and putting other people's lives at risk. In order to establish why people are out and about on the roads, my officers will have to stop and speak with even more people than usual. I hope you will understand that they're just doing their job, just trying to keep us all safe. These new restrictions and police powers are about halting the spread of the virus. I believe we have the public support to do this, and we will do it in a reasonable and proportionate way, but we will need to enforce them when we have to. My officers and staff continue to work relentlessly 24 hours a day across West Yorkshire to reduce crime, protect the vulnerable and provide reassurance during this time of national crisis. We will continue to keep the people of West Yorkshire safe and feeling safe. Please play your part by abiding by the temporary restrictions. Thank you.